In the quaint town of Maplewood, a white woman named Sarah called the police on her new black neighbor, Marcus, claiming he looked suspicious. The scene unfolded tragically as Marcus was dragged away in handcuffs, his young daughter, Mia, watching in horror. Hours later, Sarah's own son lay critically injured, and the only person who could save him was the man she had tried to destroy. This was not merely karma, it was the heavy toll of prejudice. "Please, don't take him." Mia's heart-wrenching scream pierced the stillness of the Saturday afternoon. Her small hands clutched Marcus's pant leg, her innocent blue eyes wide with fear as they locked onto the cold metal cuffs around his wrists. This was a familiar nightmare for Mia, a haunting echo of the day she lost her biological father. "He's my dad. He takes care of me." Marcus felt a surge of anger and despair, but he forced himself to remain calm. His gaze met Mia's, filled with love and determination. He was a soldier, a surgeon, and he had learned to mask his emotions, but inside he was crumbling. "Please," he managed to say, his voice hoarse and broken. "She's so scared." He turned to the police officer, his eyes pleading, but the metallic click of the cuffs echoed ominously in the AI as the patrol car pulled away, its flashing lights casting an eerie glow over Maplewood. Mia collapsed into the arms of their neighbor, Mrs. Linda Thompson, who rushed to comfort her. From behind their curtains, curious eyes watched the scene unfold, some filled with concern, others with a hint of satisfaction. Among them was Sarah, her expression a fleeting mix of triumph and malice before she retreated into her home, a shadow of her former self. Just weeks earlier, on a sunny afternoon, Mia's laughter had filled their kitchen as she and Marcus baked chocolate chip cookies, a gesture of goodwill for their new neighbors. Their home had become a sanctuary, filled with warmth and joy. Mia's golden hair glimmered in the sunlight, her blue eyes sparkling with innocence. Marcus, a tall man with tattoos that told stories of life and resilience, was a leading pediatric trauma surgeon, having saved countless lives with his skilled hands. They had carefully packed the cookies into a basket, along with a bag of coffee and a handwritten note. "Welcome to the neighborhood. We look forward to being part of this wonderful community. The Johnson family." It was a simple, heartfelt gesture, one that Marcus hoped would foster friendship in Maplewood. As they approached Sarah's door, a sense of unease washed over Marcus. Inside, resentment simmered, ready to boil over. Sarah, a 40-year-old woman, had been watching them from her living room window. Her life had unraveled after a failed business venture and a painful divorce, leaving her bitter and envious of others' happiness. Her long-held prejudices now found a target in Marcus. When Marcus knocked, the door opened just a crack. Sarah peered through, her eyes cold and suspicious. "What do you want?" she snapped, her tone sharp and unwelcoming. Marcus felt the hostility radiating from her. "Hello, ma'am. I'm Marcus Johnson, and this is my daughter, Mia. We just moved in and wanted to introduce ourselves." He tried to maintain a warm smile, placing a reassuring hand on Mia's shoulder. Sarah's eyes darted between them, filled with skepticism. "Is that your daughter?" she asked, her tone dripping with disbelief. "Yes, she is," Marcus replied, trying to keep his voice steady. "We brought some cookies. Mia helped bake them." Mia, oblivious to the tension, chimed in, "I put in lots of chocolate chips. My dad says chocolate makes everything better." She held out the basket, her eyes shining with hope, but Sarah pushed it away as if it were tainted. "I don't accept food from strangers. Keep your distance from my home," she warned, her voice shrill. "I don't know what you're doing in this neighborhood, but I'll be watching." Mia's bright smile faded, confusion clouding her innocent face. She looked up at Marcus, her eyes filled with unspoken questions. "Why didn't she want my cookies?" she whispered. "Some people just aren't ready to make new friends, sweetheart," Marcus replied, squeezing her hand. But inside, anger began to simmer. He knew Sarah wouldn't stop here. She would become a significant problem. Days later, at the Maplewood community pool, Marcus was reading when a lifeguard approached him. "Sir, we received an anonymous call about suspicious activity, and we need to see your identification." Marcus looked up to see Sarah standing nearby, a satisfied smirk on her face. Anger surged within him. He showed his adoption papers for Mia, and the lifeguard walked away, embarrassed. But humiliation washed over Marcus like a toxic fog. "Dad, why did that man ask for your papers?" Mia asked, swimming closer. "It's okay, sweetheart," Marcus whispered, holding her close. But he felt a growing sense of powerlessness, realizing Sarah was trying to separate him from Mia at all costs. One evening, Mia sat quietly on the sofa, her laughter replaced by an unsettling silence. "What's wrong, my little princess?" Marcus asked, stroking her hair. "Dad, my teacher asked me some strange questions today," Mia said, her voice barely above a whisper. Marcus frowned, sensing a shift in Mia's school environment. He had noticed the coolness from her teacher and the principal, along with the whispered glances from other parents. He realized Sarah's toxic rumors were spreading, creating an invisible barrier around them. "Sweetheart," he said, pulling Mia into his lap, "I'll always take care of you. No one can change that." Mia nodded, but Marcus could feel her trembling. He knew something unhealthy was happening, and it stemmed from Sarah. He couldn't stand by any longer. The breaking point came when Child Protective Services, CPS, knocked on his door. "Hello, Mr. Johnson. I'm Emily, a social worker. We received a report regarding your daughter and need to conduct a welfare check." Marcus's heart sank. He knew it was Sarah. The investigation was invasive, with Emily searching every corner of their home, examining documents and asking probing questions. After 3 hours, Emily's demeanor shifted. "Mr. Johnson, this report is clearly malicious. Mia is well cared for, and your relationship is healthy. I apologize for the distress this has caused. But the damage was done." That night, Mia had nightmares, waking up crying, fearing someone would take her away. Marcus held her tightly, his heart aching. He knew Sarah had crossed a line, and he had to act. The final straw came when Marcus decided to teach Mia woodworking in their garage. They were building a birdhouse together, a simple project filled with laughter and joy. But Sarah, lurking nearby, misinterpreted the scene entirely. Without hesitation, she called 911, accusing Marcus of teaching Mia criminal skills. The sound of sirens shattered the peaceful afternoon, drawing neighbors out of their homes, phones ready to record. As patrol cars arrived, Marcus felt his heart race. He raised his hands, his military training kicking in. "What's happening?" he asked calmly. "Sir, we received a call about suspicious activity involving a child," Officer Davis said, approaching with a serious expression. "This is my daughter," Marcus replied, pointing to Mia, who was hiding behind him. Before he could explain further, Sarah rushed forward, waving a folder filled with her so-called evidence. "I've been monitoring this for weeks," she exclaimed, her voice dripping with self-righteousness. "Sir, do you have guardianship papers?" Officer Davis asked. Marcus produced the documents, but Sarah continued her tirade, insisting he was a danger to children. "Dad didn't do anything wrong." Mia cried, her voice trembling. Officer Davis looked at the documents, then at Sarah. "Ma'am, these papers show Mr. Johnson is Mia's legal guardian. Your accusations appear baseless." "Baseless?" Sarah shrieked, her voice filled with indignation. "A white child calling a black man dad? Something is wrong here." In that moment, Marcus felt a surge of rage. "Mrs. Smith, you should think carefully about what you're saying," he said, his voice trembling with emotion. Mrs. Linda Thompson stepped forward, defending Marcus. "Enough, Sarah. You're ruining their lives with your prejudice." The crowd began to murmur, doubt creeping into their minds about Sarah's claims. "Enough," Officer Davis said, pushing Sarah aside. "We need to take Mr. Johnson to the station for a statement." "No!" Mia cried, sobbing uncontrollably. As Marcus was led away, he looked back at Mia, her tear-filled eyes reflecting fear and confusion. "Everything will be okay, sweetheart. I promise," he said, his voice cracking. At the police station, Marcus sat in an interrogation room, the air thick with suspicion. He felt drained, wanting nothing more than to return to Mia. Just then, the door burst open. "Dr. Johnson, we need you immediately," a frantic doctor exclaimed. "There's a child hit by a car, and we need your expertise." "Who is it?" Marcus asked, his heart racing. "It's Jason Smith, Sarah's son. He's in critical condition." Marcus's mind raced. Jason was the boy Sarah had tried to protect from him. Every part of him wanted to refuse, but his oath as a surgeon prevailed. "Can I go?" he asked Officer Davis. "Go, Dr. Johnson. We'll finalize the paperwork later." Marcus rushed to the hospital, where he found Sarah, disheveled and distraught. "Please, save my son," she begged, tears streaming down her face. In that moment, Marcus faced a fierce internal struggle. But his oath triumphed over anger. "I will do everything in my power to help your son," he said, his voice steady. Weeks later, at the Maplewood community dance, Marcus stood with Mia, who was laughing and playing with friends. He spoke with Officer Davis and Emily, now allies in their fight against prejudice. "Thank you for staying," Officer Davis said sincerely. "This is our home," Marcus replied. Then Sarah approached, Jason beside her, recovering and alive. "Thank you for saving my son," she said, her voice trembling. She handed Marcus a folded drawing, Mia's picture of their home. "I found this," she whispered. Marcus looked at the drawing, then at Sarah. He nodded, recognizing the beginning of healing. Mia ran up, grabbing Marcus's hand. "My dad is the best dad in the world," she declared. Sarah flinched at the words, her remorse evident. "I was wrong," she said, her voice shaking. "I judged someone I didn't know. I don't want us to keep making that mistake." As Marcus and Mia walked away, they left behind a community beginning to heal, a scar that would remind them of the lessons learned in justice, mercy, and change. Join us in sharing meaningful stories by liking and subscribing. Don't forget to turn on the notification bell to start your day with profound lessons and heartfelt empathy.